it's time to get those background panels out and dust them off, because today I have a ton of inspiration for you to use them and create from your stash. Now, I will link the live video where I created all of these foil art backgrounds in the description below, but let's make them into cards. I want to give you a lot of ideas on how to use your backgrounds that you've created. They do not have to be foil based like these ones are, whatever you have in your stash. My first idea is a really easy one, is make them into panels. And I find the easiest way to do this is to use a rectangle die, but you can certainly cut them down with your paper trimmer to suit the size of the project that you want to make. I myself am a bit of a fan of a white border on my cards. I don't always add it, but I like the way it kind of frames a picture. Now you might notice here that I have both the negative and the positive portions of these images, and that's because when I used the foil art, I was able to use the leftovers on some toner sheets, and you'll see that all explained in the other video. Now I do have some cute images that I'm adding to today's cards, and I'm not really going to show you much of the colouring at all. I have decided this is more about creating the actual, using the art backgrounds, and I did colour with my alcohol markers today. And if you do want to know which products I used or which colours I used, I do have the whole list linked at my blog, but it will also be in the description below this video, right at the very bottom, after all my chitty chat stuff. Alright, so like I said, I am a bit of a fan of a white border, so I cut my panels down with the rectangle die, which actually coordinates with this perfect align tool sizing. Now you don't have to have the dies to use these align tools, because as long as you cut your panels to the size that suits the tool, and I have got that all linked in a video that I actually showed how to use those tools, and if I remember I'll link that one below as well. But it's a really handy tool if you struggle with getting your panels aligned perfectly on your cards. So you can cut your panels to whatever size you like. The smaller you cut them, obviously, the more you're going to get out of the one background sheet. With a busy panel like this particular one, personally, I find it better to have minimal images or distractions on the panel. So what I've done is just used a couple of images in the center of the panel, and that way you can really get the effect of the foil and just have that fun image showing. And an awesome bonus with these particular panels that I'm using on the first few cards is that they're actually repeat sentiment panels. So to me that means I don't have to add a sentiment. I'm actually using the sentiments that are on the backgrounds to be the sentiment on my card. But of course, if you prefer, you can also add a sentiment if you can't help yourself. Sometimes we just feel like we have to. And I potentially would suggest using a large sentiment centrally in the card as well. And that would, on its own, without any other images, and that would give it the real wow factor. So this next card, I'm doing very similarly to the first two cards. I am only going to add one image centrally on the card, and it's a reindeer. I'm layering it up. I think I actually added a total of 4 layers, and then I still popped it up on the front of the card. I just wanted to have that shadow effect because of the white on that white almost background. I figured if I didn't add that dimension, it could get lost. And I know I could have added a colored reindeer, but I wanted the white. And did you notice? No white border on my card front this time. I was being very bold. These coloured toner sheets are a game changer. I used the negative piece of foil on these toner sheets, which is what you can see in the background. So now to create a coordinating reindeer, I just cut it directly out of this metallic gold toner sheet. And here's my next idea. It's to actually die cut a shape with your background panel. And I've just got a simple oval shape here, But I wanted to create a gold border but not waste any of my toner sheet. So what I did was got the original size of the oval and then added the next layer of nesting die around that. This way, when I adhere the panel directly, the shaped die cut panel directly to the front of the card, I can come in and add that border, safe and happy in the knowledge that I've still got that center that I can use for another project. And I've got a quick tip. Use your adhesive on an area of the toner sheet that's going to be thrown away, as it will affect your foiling down the track when you go to use that piece. Okay, so we're moving along now, and this time I'm going to be using the background sheets to create the background of an image, and the perfect one for Christmas in my mind is a snow globe. So I've just chosen the portion out of the foil art that I want to use, but keep an eye on that. We'll be using that in a moment. I already had some pieces that I'd prepared earlier to make another snow globe that just didn't happen. It wasn't working for me. So I'm using a lot of those here, but I did decide to make this into a shaker. So I have added some foam and some glitter and a piece of acetate with a border. I love the idea of using foil art or a background behind an image. You could do something like a fishbowl, you could do a window, you could use it behind a star for a birthday, behind a birthday cake. There's so many different ideas. I wanted to make this one a little bit more fancy, so I did add a background and a sentiment. I actually decided to add it as part of the snow globe. So have a look at your stash and see what you have. Even if you have a circle die, you can create your own snow globe just with a circle die and create like a base with a rectangle. It's very easy to do. So I did some quick colouring here because I ran out of images and I needed them for my next cards. So the foil art that I used for the previous snow globe, that leftover piece, I cut it down and made a 4 1/4 square and then lined it up with the reverse image that I'd created with the leftover foil. So this was perfect, but of course you don't need to do this. You could have anything in the background of your die cut shape that you've done. If you want to keep the reverse image and use it for another project, just make sure that you don't take it out of the edge of the piece of cardstock. That way you can either put it onto an A2 panel or, like I've done here, in a 4 1/4 square. I had a sentiment that I'd already heat embossed from another project that I didn't use. So I'm using up a lot of my leftovers here. So if you've got a little stash or a jar or anything, don't forget to look at those first before you get out all new stuff and start recreating. Oh, and one thing to note is foil is very sticky and unforgiving, so make sure you get your placement just right. So by being able to use that negative piece that you created, you basically got a 2-for-1 card. Right, we're still on the non-waste side of things, and this one is very straightforward. It is not a fancy idea. It's just using the leftover waste on another card. And of course I needed some more images. I decided to make it a smaller card because I don't have a lot of this particular panel left. So I have actually cut down the panel to create just a background, matted it on some black and added a couple of cute images. And basically this one panel of foil art has now given me 3 cards. I love it. It's just brilliant. So you could do slim lines, you could do circle cards, you can even use it on gift tags. You do not have to waste your precious backgrounds. There are so many ideas. This is just the tip of the iceberg today. And speaking of icebergs, no we're not. It's not actually an iceberg. My next idea. It's actually a Christmas tree, and that is to use your background to die cut images. I have a Christmas tree. I want to pop it up, so I'm adding a layer of cardstock behind it. When it comes to foiling cardstock, I do tend to use a lot more liquid glue than I would dry adhesive. So that's just personal preference. This particular card here, I've used the Christmas tree. If you do not have a Christmas tree die, you could easily cut a triangle and make a more modern style Christmas tree shape from your background panels. You could also die cut different shapes such as snowflakes or stars and either have it very clean and simple like I've done here, or you can actually add multiples to create a scene or create a die cut background. And you know how much I love to do that. So here I have also used a sentiment that is a hot foiled sentiment. So keep an eye out because we're going somewhere with this very shortly. I also like to add a little bit of bling, but dimension and bling aren't the best for postage. I do protect my cards with a piece of cardstock in front of them when I do post them out, or I might even use a rigid mailer, which for us in Australia doesn't typically cost any extra, but I know that could be a problem for other countries. So don't add dimension if you want to keep the postage down. So I'm on to my final card, and this one's not so much about backgrounds, but it's about a sentiment that I created during my live, and I wanted to use it here and just let you know that this is a game changer. Did you know that you can use negative pieces of hot foil on toner art? And now that we have colored toner art, you don't have to have those black backgrounds, and it works like a dream. You can run these negative pieces of hot foil on the toner art through your laminator, and you don't have to try and sit there and work out the exact sandwich, hold your breath, cross your fingers and your toes when you're using the solid plates to get the reverse image of your hot foil. The toner art has made this so easy. And I just wanted to make another card. I had bits there ready to go. I do hope you've enjoyed today's ideas for using backgrounds. Stick around because I've got 2 more videos to share with you here from my previous Same But Different Christmas card series. I look forward to seeing you there. And don't forget to hit subscribe and click on the like button. Happy paper crafting. Bye.